Okay. So, let's get into this. So you said it was Hero League?
Yeah, I don't remember what the draft order or anything was.
Okay. And you're on Tyrande on the red team. So let's take a look at the draft. You guys have Diablo, Sergeant Hammer, Tyrande, Kerrigan, Mephisto. The question I have so far is just who your solo lane is and what you're going to be on in your four-man. But otherwise, on their team, they have Diva, Sylvanas, Lucio, Kel'Thuzad, and Gazlo. Wow, that is a wonky draft if I ever saw one. But these are good players. These are all masters, if not grandmasters, on both teams. So high
Yeah,
rating.
according to Hot Slog, I think I'm the lowest by far
Um,
in this match,
I mean I
at least on my
recognize
team.
most of the names here, so that's actually I don't think this is not Glaurung. I know he has an account with fancy letters, but that's not it. So I'm not sure who that guy is, but so if you were to tell me, what would you say is your comp strength slash what would you say is the weakness?
Well, we for
Okay.
sure have the pick potential. Um, that's what I was thinking with Tyrande off of
Mm-hmm.
both Diablo and Kerrigan. Um, I don't know exactly how well Sergeant Hammer fits into that because that's a hero that you generally want
Mm-hmm.
to peel for as opposed to diving with. I
Yeah.
guess Mephisto can do some dive too. So, and they don't have a peeling tank,
Right.
at least
Yeah.
not
So
a
their
traditional
draft
one.
doesn't have a main tank, and it's got a diva on it, and it's got, other than that, relatively squishy heroes. Sylvanas, Lucio, Kel'Thuzad, and Gazlo are all relatively squishy. I assume Gazlo will be solo laning, um, and then you're just left with this four man. So diva can sort of prevent all inning on a single hero, but even that might not be enough, especially if he can't get his defense matrix up on all of you guys. Between Diablo, like even if it's not a wall stun, Diablo charging any target as long as it's not underneath towers, I think could be still worth it.
Hmm.
If you charge, flip, and then Tyrande stun with trait followed by a Kerrigan stun, I think there's a good chance that you'd get a kill on pretty much any of these four heroes. So definitely pick potential is a big deal. I Because of the fact that Sergeant Hammer doesn't fit into that style, I do think that that should be the person that goes to the bot lane to solo lane. I'm worried that it's going to be probably Kerrigan in the solo lane, but we'll see. Let's take a look at what happens. As far as early, mid, late game, I think. So their team has the Kel'Thuzad, which is definitely a big power spike for late game. But other than that,
Right,
you guys
right.
should be able to run them over in the early to mid game, and I think you guys should be able to snowball by level. By the time that you guys reach level 13, they should be no higher than level 11. I want to see the first 3/4 go down. I would say this
Oh,
is
interesting.
the way I would play this is play the early game aggressive. Make sure you get the first turn in, get to level 10 first, prevent them from turning in. This after that, get your second turn in. Make sure you get all 3/4 with that second turn in, and then force the boss with level 13, and then try and get the keep. And if you get picks, you can maybe end the game. But that's just how I see just from the draft so far. As far as
Okay,
Tyrande
sure. Yeah, that
pick,
makes sense.
Tyrande's super strong right now. Obviously, let me select you as a hero though. There we go.
Yeah, she used to be a kind
Okay.
of a pocket pick of mine. I'm still trying to feel
Mm-hmm.
her out after the reworks. And then the subsequent nerfs.
All right. So I guess maybe you are typing here. Definitely want to be able to follow up on your team. So if that was a little faster, this guy loses his mech. Yeah, Kerrigan just pinged you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably an
Yeah, it's
alt
the
tab
beginning
or
of the game.
something. I don't know.
So it looks like, yeah, you do have Sergeant Hammer in the bot lane. They send Sylvanas and they have Gazlo. Okay, so Sylvanas into Sergeant Hammer. That should be fine. Okay. This is probably even better for you guys. Killing Gazlo is even easier than killing Sylvanas a lot of times because of the unstoppable escape. If Diablo charges this guy, especially into a wall, he's just dead.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. I need
So definitely want to keep a limit to CPX's stacks. Okay, this guy's dead. I think you can hold your stun, just because your team has so many options. Yeah, he just gives up right there. No way he's getting out of that. So I'll take a quick look talent-wise. Okay, he went with Loon's Chosen. I don't see a Loon's Chosen here for some reason.
Oh,
It doesn't show up as
his
like
ability.
his. Oh, it's like hidden right there. It's underneath. Oh well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, this is a different UI.
UI
Let me
for
check and see
replays?
if observer UI. Let's go to the default. Let's see if it changes. It's not going to change it right now, probably. But anyway, whatever. Let's go into it. So far, CPX is stacking pretty darn well, and that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, you got me.
Oh my god, again.
Thanks. I needed that.
I think Diablo needs to be a little bit more aggressive on the Kel'Thuzad specifically. If he's getting close enough to land chains, then he should be close enough to be queued by Diablo most of the time. But oh my gosh, the stacking. So you have everything. Flip. Okay, so it's well placed, but it's a little bit too slow. You need to have this stun down as soon as the charge connects. So as soon as you see where it was tough because Lucio is going to move faster than most other heroes, and after Diablo charged, when he's not stunning on a wall, Lucio was able to get a little bit of movement, and that's why I'm sure it took a little longer to adjust. But yeah, this is definitely not going to land. Let's see if he still dies. 10 HP. Oh, yay, we got it. All right, cool. I'm glad you got your trade off. That's the reason why he died, really. If you landed the stun, for sure he dies, but it's a squishy target still.
Don't get caught. Still more to do.
Okay. So yeah, your job really in this situation is to make sure you're always within range of these two heroes to follow up on them. Their job actually is to actually be more in this area. They want to prevent anyone from rotating between these two lanes in a fast way. If anybody rotates along these routes, then they should be able to kill them. If anybody steps out too far in each lane, then they should be able to rotate on them. That's their jobs. You just follow them. You just be within approximate, like, this is too far so far, but I mean, you're mounting. If this guy was faster and flipped this guy, charged him to the wall, you could probably follow up with stun. Okay, so he goes on Kel'Thuzad here, but the team is very split, so this is unlikely to lead to a kill. But that was a good place for him to be. Like, this is exactly where you want to be able to get that pick. They do have, like, if Kerrigan wasn't clearing the wave, but instead was following up on Diablo, that guy's dead, guaranteed. But they do have this camp pushing out mid, so, like, you don't want to all be here, because then this is just going to get value. So I understand both parties, essentially. You don't have anybody taking this camp, so... and your composition is not super camp-friendly, I guess you could say.
No.
But between you and Kerrigan, I think those are the two heroes that you probably send to do this camp. It's not great, but it's I don't know. This guy is stuck in the solo lane. Diablo is not a good hero to have on the camp, and Mephisto, I don't think his camp clear is that great. So Kerrigan is probably the best bet.
No.
Although it's the wrong first talent for doing that. Not sure actually why going in Simulation Mastery at all. So what talent are you going to go for here on 4?
Oh jeez. I think it was the stun talent.
Definitely big.
So the range
definitely
and the
right call.
Yeah.
And then for 7, this is the real question.
Yeah, the range is insane. Yeah, so this one I went the spell armor one. I think because I didn't see too many stuns besides the gas stun, and then it could be helpful for preventing the Kel'Thuzad.
Definitely agree with that. I know a lot of people, especially a higher rating, go for the Celestial Attunement, which is a higher skill cap. And there are roots and silences and stuns that could be avoided. But against this composition, the only chance that they have is something dying to Kel'Thuzad. That's really the only way that they get kills, as far as I can tell. Unless like you have somebody way out of position and everybody just collapses on them with Lucio speed. Other than that, that's the main threat, is just the Kel'Thuzad damage. So if you're reducing the spell armor on that target, then or you're increasing their spell armor, I should say, then that should be fine. Good call. Otherwise, probably I'm assuming you go Shadowstalk and Harsh Moonlight.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
What do you go on this?
I think I wasn't sure about the 10 for a bit, but for that one, well, I'm usually torn between Empower and Darnassus and Archery, and I've been going Empower more recently just because I see that it's the more popular one.
So, I mean, the reduction of cooldown is actually a pretty nice thing, because like if it was only the damage, then it changes the usefulness of your owl from being more utility to being more burst. And so having that cooldown reduction basically helps it in both regards. It's still a strong utility tool. It's even stronger now that it has a reduced cooldown. So it's good for vision, but it's also really good for guaranteeing that you get the kill on that one person that you're trying to blow up. So I do agree with that. And then 20 is always a fun choice. What do you usually go for?
Yeah, overwhelmingly, I've been doing.
That's it's just an all-around strong talent. Increasing your attack speed definitely gives you more Qs, more healing, so that's good. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I think I've tried the others like once or twice, but was not super impressed. Ice Blades is pretty consistent.
All right. So your team definitely lacks a little bit of wave clear, especially with the Kerrigan level 1. So this was smart of them to try and push with this, but only Treebeard was really pushing it. If they had been all 4 together, they may have been able to get either, probably just more damage, honestly. Probably wouldn't have gotten a pick, but... Ooh. And there it is. Okay, so let me just check that and see if you were able to heal him, because I saw you had heal at the end there. Because definitely want to make sure you have that spell power or spell armor available. Let's take a look. So you use 1 stack here. You use both stacks right away. Okay. And yeah, so it just comes up right now. That's tough. Can I see... think I can. I need to be able to see the whether or not he currently has spell armor. I'm curious about that. Basically, the question comes down to...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the regular game, you'd be able to see it, but the question comes down to whether or not you should have held 1 charge of your Q, into like instead of using both of them right away. Essentially, the idea behind it is it gives you more surprise power for the enemy team, as well as it stretches how long the duration of the spell armor is, right? So I'm assuming that by using 2 of them right away, it's possible that the spell armor faded before this real damage came in. Does that make sense? So if you had delayed 1 of your Q charges for if he got into more trouble, it's possible he could have survived long enough for these 2 extra charges to come up. Absolutely.
Can you just rewind it a second? Because I'm just looking at the talent, and it's only
correct.
It's only 2 seconds of the spell.
It's the same as Uther, as if I believe.
So yeah, I'm only sitting on 1 now.
So you do get a recharge if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Okay, so you use your first charge here. Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought you used 2 charges on this guy. Okay. You're very close. Oh, okay. I see.
Oh, the moon is the
Okay,
that's
you
the
put
talent,
your
the level 1
your
talent.
Alun's Chosen up. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Alun's Chosen just wasn't enough in that particular situation, unfortunately. More of the Light of Alun's was well, it was necessary, but it was too close timing wise. I don't know if I can fault you for that.
I mean, I think the big
Definitely,
thing is like a
yeah.
chain.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done that.
It didn't look like you were making any particular mistakes with regard to that. When you see somebody else get chained, like if all members of your team try and dodge, it's still bad because then you have 3 people that are essentially moving erratically, and you don't want to be doing that for the sake of positioning and taking damage and whatnot. So I'm not going to fault you for getting chained off of another hero unless it's very blatantly obvious and you're not in any other danger.
Interesting, okay. I never thought of it from that angle.
So far, okay, now they have D.Va in the bot lane. Let me see if I can... I want to get the enemy team's perspective as well. Okay. So they had to back, yeah. KTZ was So you guys are getting some of your gems turned in. They do have vision here. I feel like you guys are playing this a little too scared. So here's where this game starts to fall apart, is if you guys don't get your picks and prevent them from rotating quickly, they get ahead on wave clear because composition for the 4-man is already relatively low on wave clear. But more importantly, your comp's strength is preventing them from being able to wave clear. So by focusing on just trying to clear the waves, I think that's how you start to fall further and further behind. So let's take a look. I'm assuming that this could lead to them turning in. They're going to clear the top. He doesn't go for it, okay. Yeah, I think that Diablo could have gone for it. He's going to catch Soak when your team, your composition is very built around landing picks. And Kerrigan seems to have that idea correct. Diablo, I feel like, is not quite in the loop on that. Howl was a little bit late, I would say, but I don't think that's enough to kill him, so. Alright, so chain's coming down. In this particular situation, best thing you can do is hug this wall. Ideally, it pulls you and doesn't take you all the way. That's because you always want to find a terrain that can stop the pull, but I'm not even certain that would do it. This wall versus, it'd be tight. But this is almost certainly your death. Diablo comes back after soaking. He's probably able to secure one more kill. Yeah, with the Kerrigan's help. This is a pretty scrappy fight. Yeah.
Can you just... Yeah, can you see if
KTZ
he's
is
stacked
probably
yet?
20 some,
KTZ?
yeah. 22.
Because he's pretty high.
He's past 15, which means that he's going to have the chain available, and your composition should be able to handle that better than like the chain is a single target, right? So, and it's pretty predictable who it's going to go on, because if any decent Kel'Thuzad is going to land their first chain on one hero and then use the chain after that because of the delayed time. Because of that, you know who it is that's going to be the target, and you should be able to get, ideally, your Light of Elune charges off on that person. I'm pretty sure you got your heals off on yourself there, but I'm not sure if you had both of the charges for yourself. Either way, it was he got a chain on you that was really good for positioning, and you're probably the worst target to get pulled as well. Kerrigan has no chill. Absolutely none at all. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, they are very low.
Oh my god. Pulled it off.
Oh my god. So your team is just very uncoordinated so far. Kind of picking fights one or two at a time. And what I said in the beginning of, you know, controlling the early game and getting ahead in the early game, mid game, would definitely be more so the case. Like, as is, you guys are ahead. You're up in experience, up in kills, and you have 39 gems compared to their 0. So definitely you guys are still winning, but I would say that at this point of the game, you guys should have at least one level advantage and have gotten your first turn in. That's so far what I'm seeing.
We're not hitting the
Pretty
benchmark
much.
you
You're
were
not
saying
on
earlier.
track to destroy this game based on draft alone, essentially. I think you guys are lacking a little bit in execution so far. Not entirely up to you. I'm not putting that on you. I'm just saying overall for the composition. So yeah, sort of when you're playing Diablo Tyrande, there's got to be some understanding of sort of how to put it. It's not just timing.
Like the
it's
timing of it,
you
or-
have to be able to rely on each other to know what the other is going to do, because when you're playing Diablo, sometimes it's better to hold your flip. Sometimes it's better to hold your charge. Sometimes it's better to use them at the same time. But when you're playing with the Tyrande, that Tyrande has to somehow know what you're going to do, and that it's really important to be consistent with how you play, because as the Diablo
Okay.
specifically, if every single time you do the same combo, the Tyrande will usually just intuitively know that what happened last time and the time before that is what's going to happen the next time. So in this particular situation, if this Diablo knew what he was doing better, he would have positioned himself so that he could flip and charge into this terrain right here. Right? He was stationed right here. Gazlo walked right here. So what he needed to do was walk one step over to the right and then flip and then charge, and then you get your Lunar Flare off. In general, like without communicating, it's really tough to expect to land a Lunar Flare off of a charge and no stun, no charge, you know? It's very difficult. I'm guessing that you were waiting for him to do the charge, but he saw that it wasn't lined up, so he didn't even go for it, right? He still has his charge. Because he didn't take a step over to the right, that's why. But
Okay.
once again, it's not on you specifically. I wouldn't expect you to be able to land that follow-up. It's almost impossible. But what I would say is, until you know what he's going to do, hold your Lunar Flare. I think you have a better chance of landing Lunar Flare based on predicting movement, like escapes, than following up on a Diablo that you're not sure what he's going to do. So try and learn from his actions what his general go-to moves are, and then try and go from there. That was a really good job. The boop is what screwed it up. That was perfectly done on your part. You did nothing wrong. Lucio booped the Diablo, which meant that the flip took place a little bit short of the location.
Yeah, just to go back to what you were saying before, if I'd held the stun on
Yes,
the
you
flip
have
on the
a
bush,
spot right here. This is the
then,
spot. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like 9 times out of 10.
He can't go
he's gonna
back
run
the
that
other
way
way.
to escape.
So his only options are to go this way or to go downwards. I think that there was one of your team members showing down there, so it's most likely he's going to go this way. The rest of his team was someone up here, someone over here, I think. So definitely landing Lunar Flares is very doable if you don't have CC to follow up on. If you can predict movement and in pathways especially. It's obviously better to do it in combination with CC, but once again, like, I don't think I've seen one Lunar Flare that was following up on Diablo or Kerrigan stun, if you know what I mean. And it's level 8 now, 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
So you have 4 stuns so far, and I'm pretty sure most of those were raw. So that's fine. I'm just saying, It's obviously a lot harder when it's in Hero League as opposed to a coordinated setting. Not to mention, Lucio can be a pain in the ass with regard to that, because it can throw everything off.
Yeah, I missed a few due to him.
They have 3 men in the bot lane. They're getting Siege, and you guys get the Web Weaver. Okay. So, with this situation, it is vitally important that your trio of Diablo, Tyrande, and Kerrigan be in the same lane, I think. And that can be either the bot lane.
You mean with the push? You're talking about with the push, not like in this sort of...
It
right
looks
now
like, yeah,
we're
you guys are
going
collapsing
up to last
bottom.
spot.
I'm not
You're
talking about that particularly. What I'm talking about is with this Web Weaver push, the 3 of you need to be together. You want to still be soaking every lane, so you still want to have Sergeant Hammer presumably in the bot lane because it's hard for him to rotate. Malthael can be either mid or top, and then the 3-man can be either mid or top. That's sort of how I see it. The main reason for that being that wherever your 3-man is of Kerrigan, Tyrande, and Diablo, they should not be able to defend, because if anything tries to defend while you have Web Weavers pushing up against the towers, Diablo can just go in, charge, stun, flip. Kerrigan can follow up, or you can follow up. Either way, pretty much anything on their team should die. The only reason you guys couldn't have done that necessarily before that is because the positioning of their heroes has typically been that if Diablo were to charge raw, he'd be under towers and have to stay there for a little while, so he'd probably end up dying for it. So
You're right.
all right, it's a good kill on Gaz though. You guys want to clear this up and then immediately hard push. I don't think I like staying bottom lane in this situation. You do want to clear this, but Sergeant Hammer is already down here, and you definitely don't want to go up to soak a lane on your own. I guess you could have Mephisto go up, but once again, then you just have Tyrande, Diablo, and Sergeant Hammer in the bottom lane. I don't think it's worth having more people with the Sergeant Hammer in this scenario. Sergeant Hammer is already going to get good push value. They're going to need to respond to Sergeant Hammer with more than just one hero, namely Treebeard or Diva, in order to prevent the Sergeant Hammer from pushing. So that's why I think, and it's very unlikely that you're going to get a pick on this Diva because he has a bomb, high health bar, and it's the hardest thing to kill on their team. So yeah, that's just generally how I see this right now. So you do get the follow-up stun.
Well, it's also
super close to getting the Diva's mech to explode, and that would have been very nice, honestly. Not having the mech for this this push would have been quite nice. In general, whenever you see a Diva's mech bar already at full, if you can get free damage on them, it's not a bad idea to, because it potentially could force them to use their bomb when they don't want to. That's just the way that it goes. If they're at 60%, 70%, don't even touch them, especially if an objective is about to spawn, because then you're just giving them what they want, essentially.
Like he's probably looking to use the bomb on the
He wants to be able to save this bomb to zone out the Sergeant Hammer while he clears the spell, the objective. That's his end game here. And there it goes. That's a really good push. So he should have placed it a little bit closer. If he was smarter, he would have placed it a little bit closer, and when it gets knocked back, it would probably still be here. So the idea to place it here either forces Sergeant Hammer to back off to unsiege, or to do maximum damage to the Web Weaver. In this situation, Sergeant Hammer doesn't have to move, so he accomplishes one of the 2 goals that he should have been going for. Is this the upgraded version? It is. Okay. Nuclear option. Wow. I am not a huge fan of nuclear option. I think especially without Garrosh, it's a huge waste of a talent. And the only situations where I think it's decent is potentially in a Wombo combo situation where you have either Void Prison or Medivh's Leyline, and you also need Garrosh to be able to reposition / throw it. Potentially you could use Stitches as well, but that's significantly harder to accomplish. And then the only other instance is against on Braxis, if you want to completely annihilate the wave with one Diva Bomb. That's the other thing to do.
Well, I'm not familiar with the Diva talents.
On level
What are the
7, honestly,
alternatives?
anything except for that. It's really
Okay.
it's a downside because most of the time when you're using your bomb, your goal is either to zone or to get damage. It's not for PvE purposes most of the time. So adding additional damage at the cost of increased duration of time means it's significantly less likely to do damage to a hero, although it does zone for a potentially longer period of time, so that's something. The main purpose of taking this talent is for PvE. That's really the reality. The only reason I say with Garrosh or Leyline or Void Prison are those are the tools that are required to get any value out of damage on heroes. If you can Void Prison heroes right next to it or something, or you can throw it with Garrosh, you can throw the bomb towards people. It only does a quarter. Yeah, I don't know. It's a waste of a talent, in my opinion. All right, so you end up being the one who rotates because nobody's soaking top right now. Kerrigan's in mid, and for some reason you have this trio in the bottom lane. So I'm definitely not a huge fan of this configuration. There's very little threat overall, I think, on the map for your team compared to what it could be. You're giving them free clear on the top side, so you're most likely just going to get a tower. Maybe it'll get the second tower top in this lane. Because of the fact that you have two people together that are not super threatening, and it's a Kel'Thuzad that's defending, this is actually slightly dangerous for you. If for some reason he's able to land a combo on both of you, you could potentially be in danger. It's unlikely that he gets the kill because you're Tyrande and you have spell armor, so it's very unlikely. But it's probably, I don't know. I think that this push, best case scenario, you're going to get the bot fort and these two towers and this tower. I think that's the most likely scenario. Let's take a look.
Also, we're doing the least pressure on the most important lane.
That is true. This lane is the most important because of the boss. So yeah, definitely agree with that as well. I would say that, yeah, the best situation was to have Mephisto mid, 3-man top, Sergeant Hammer bot. Main reason being that if they don't respond somehow to the 3-man, Sergeant Hammer gets a ton of value bottom. If they respond heavily on the bottom, then you get a ton of value top. And Mephisto's are relatively safe. He can stay relatively safe in the mid lane, although his escape is also not the best escape, but he doesn't have to be too far pressed up, and their team is not particularly great at chasing besides the fact that they have Lucio. Like, their heroes are not chase heroes, per se. He just has to dodge the Kel'Thuzad chain, and then other than that, he should be okay. So you don't even you don't even get this tower. That's very sad, unfortunately. You get 1 tower, 2 towers, you get the wall in the mid, and yeah. So pretty much exactly what I said, except you don't get this tower. Doesn't look like you're going to get anything more here. Oh, you did get a kill. Hold on. No, they got a kill. Just kidding. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's huge, actually. 15 gems. This needs to be guarded. Yeah. That's unfortunate for you guys. But you get the additional kill onto the Sylvanas, I think it was, with the ultimate.
Right.
So that's pretty good. You haven't picked your ultimate yet.
Well, if it was at the ult, then the rest of us could have been guarding the gems. Because he didn't. We don't need to be there for him to secure the kill with the
one person at least needed to be relatively close to prevent this. If Diablo especially was there, I think that's probably the primary target to do it because of the repositioning tools. They lose 15 gems right there. Really huge. So this setup you have. Oh, you lost Kerrigan, it looks like. Okay, fair enough. But you guys do have level 10, and with that, you should be able to push. You don't have the hardest push in this lane. If you had Sergeant Hammer, excuse me. If you had Sergeant Hammer with you in this group, this is almost guaranteed to be gone. But because you don't, I could very well see them being able to defend this by the time it gets to like 20-30%. They were very close to getting level 10. D.Va doesn't have a bomb, but she's going to be a pain in the ass anyway. Yeah. Ooh. Nice. I love this flank. This is awesome. Stun. Off flips. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see. Was there an opportunity there?
I missed. I didn't have the right angle on it.
Let's take a look. So where are you? Alright, so you're rotating. So he dies before you can reach him. That's fine. And I think...
I have no idea what that was.
Sorry. Oh, is
my
this your stun
there.
here?
It might have been.
Okay, you were trying to stop the
right.
Sylvanas E, maybe?
I might have been predicting the Lucio
I see.
around the wall there, but he went the other way.
That doesn't matter. He died anyway. I'm just curious to see what Kerrigan was talking about with regard to the stunning off flips. Because if Diablo goes for it here, let's see, what does he go for? Just that? Okay, I see. So, this is really hard to follow up on. Your Diablo here charged, waited, and then flipped. So Diablo is actually playing this incorrectly. This is a good player, but he's playing this as if he doesn't have a Tyrande. Does that make sense? So essentially,
yeah, you have to explain that.
When you're playing Diablo without any follow-up, the best thing you can possibly do with your overpower is position the enemy team or the enemy player to be able to body block after you overpower. So let's watch this one more time. So the advice that Kerrigan's giving you is to always follow up on the flip with the stun. But it's really hard to predict when he's going to do the actual flip if he doesn't do it immediately after his charge. So you'll see that he's going to charge the D.Va here, right here. Based on this alone, if he uses his flip immediately afterwards, you can always land your stun. Where Diablo is currently, he's going to charge and flip. So where the target was before the flip is where you can stun. That's the general rule.
Okay, yeah. If he doesn't get the, well, I guess even if he doesn't
matter.
The wall bang,
it doesn't matter.
That's still
I mean, if he lands the wall bang, then he might delay his flip. But in this particular situation, he doesn't play like he has a Tyrande. He moves this way so that when he flips, the D.Va ends up being in a worse position for against his team, right? He waits. Do you see? And then he flips. So you're going to place yours down here, which is actually exactly where it should have been, probably a half a second earlier. But that's where it should have been to land the D.Va flip if the D.Va was here and got flipped to here. This would have landed.
Okay.
But because he's not playing like he has a Tyrande, he waits and flips so that you can body block afterwards potentially. And it ends up not working out. Nonetheless, the Sergeant Hammer flank saves the day, lands the kill, gets the D.Va mech as well. So this is really solid. But definitely, I want to see you pick your heroic talent sooner. This is important.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do.
Which talent to take, you mean, or what?
Right, yeah, I wasn't sure which one would
99% of the time when you're picking Tyrande as a solo healer, the right call is the heal ult, because Tyrande's healing is relatively... it's not great without the ults. Once you get the ults, she becomes a really seriously good healer. It's all targets, it's global. It's possible, I don't know if you had level 10 at the time when this fight all started, but it's possible that if you did and instantly used it, you could have potentially saved the Kerrigan. Because you were very close to reaching Kerrigan, right? And landing your Qs up on her. So if you had been able to use your ults first, then that could have been a save. But I don't know that you had level 10, so I'm not gonna blame you for it. So Sergeant Hammer goes to reposition. I don't think that was necessarily the call. I think he could have moved through more aggressively. You have a Diablo here to tank. Looks like you guys want to get your second turn in started. They have to clear this bottom. I think you guys definitely take this fort. 100% right now. You don't have enough gems to turn in. Taking this fort and then turning in is totally fine.
Okay.
So yeah, absolutely. They had to back off. They lost one person and the mech, and they still have to clear this. So there's no reason to back off here. Diablo has that same line of thinking, but nobody else does, right? You're looking to turn in, it looks like. I think somebody pinged to turn in. If you and one other member are here pushing this, then this guy probably dies. And it looks like this might just be a dead... Okay, this is a trade. The trade is worse for you guys, I think. Yeah, okay. So Diablo lost his souls. He gets 10 because Gazlo died pretty much at the same time. So he gets some of his souls back, which is okay, but... definitely unnecessary death, and one that puts them closer to where they want to be. They get more comeback experience based on level, so... The souls are the bigger deal, of course, though. So this guy went for extended range. Interesting. So they're doing their camps a lot more frequently than we are. I don't think we've done a camp this game so far. D.Va has a majority of their gems, 49. So definitely good to keep eyes on the D.Va. Yeah, and that's fine. You don't need to kill her. All you need to do is prevent her from turning in. So, all right. So he sees what's going on, but he's already used his E, so he's not gonna be able to stay here. I don't think he has his ultimate, so this is unlikely for you guys to be able to go in on. Let's take a look though. Nope. Uh-oh. No souls. Diablo getting mind controlled in. Good stun placement. He does get away. Good charge. I don't think he needed to use the ultimate. I get the idea, but he's out. Yeah. Especially because he had flames behind him and he has spell armor. Generally speaking, with Alun's Chosen, I don't know if it's on cooldown or off cooldown right now, but just in general, I find that it's best to use it on tanks because you can get the fullest value from it. It's the best way to recover health that's lost, whereas Light of Elune is the best way to mitigate damage that's being done, if that makes sense. Because this is more of a heal over time, and it requires you to be auto-attacking, which in a team fight isn't always possible. And this one is castable while moving, instant cast, burst healing, plus spell armor in this case.
Yeah, I mean, if you get an opportunity to just auto, like the wave or something, then I mean, it does just so much healing.
Why is everyone backing
overheal.
So far off here? Pre-tapping. But you need to prevent this turn-in. This is pretty huge, preventing the turn-in. And he can't continue to do it. He's getting zoned out. Okay, that's decent. They cancel it. Go for the bomb. Alright, this is a tough spot. What do you think is your play?
I definitely feel nervous about...
Right.
I mean, I have to get out of the bomb. I feel nervous about going directly to the left.
Absolutely.
That's closer to Kel'Thuzad. Although the Kerrigan...
But where's Kerrigan going to go?
Healing right now. I mean, she looks like she's diving further towards either the D.Va or the Lucio.
I mean, they do have... Sylvanas is right here. They did just use Sound Barrier, but there's a bomb here. Kerrigan cannot go backwards, right, into the bomb. This bomb takes longer to explode, so you don't have to exit it immediately. In fact, it's possible Kerrigan could walk around here and get out, but he probably won't because most players don't count on this duration of time.
No.
And it catches them off guard sometimes, so... It's most likely that he will either go to try and finish off the Sylvanas or run downwards if he's going for safety. So in your case, I would say the best scenario is to run this direction. You want to get to the rest of your team where everyone can get together and combine. If Diablo and Kerrigan go upwards, that's fine. There's fewer heroes. They are the more risky damage dealers that do more damage, so it's possible Kerrigan might die for it, but I think that they can probably get kills on either one of these heroes, and the main thing is just to keep everyone alive. Once again, I have to stress, this would have been so much better to have Shadowstalk up for this, right? You want to make sure not to use Shadowstalk for a single person unless it's absolutely necessary. So you... Okay, so... yeah. I think you waffled a little bit deciding which way to go, but other than that...
yeah.
You had already used your heal. Did you get them on Kerrigan there? Let me see this. Okay. So you have one heal currently. Yeah, so you do use it on Kerrigan. Gotta get some auto attacks in.
Oh, there's the armor.
Yeah.
So there's an armor indicator.
Just on around the hero, right? Yeah, right there.
Yeah, on the bar to the side.
Yep. Oh, okay. So this is a very predicted chain. So this one, if you see he gets landed, running away is very unlikely to avoid it based on range. Like you would have to get to here, I think, to avoid it. So this is a little bit too far away and too predictable a path. It's unlikely that you could dodge it by going this direction. I think by far the best case scenario is you run upwards and this way, essentially. Because worst case scenario, it chains you to this wall, and it brings you here, and it doesn't move this guy at all, which means that they can't possibly go for both of you. Does that make sense? In general.
Okay. Yeah, just remind it
Yeah, sure.
seconds so I can see it again.
In general, with Kel'Thuzad chain, it's always better to prevent the chain from bringing people together.
Yeah, I just I'm not used to thinking about how to use the terrain to block it. You know what I mean? I've been trying to either juke or outrange it, but I mean I've certainly seen Kel'Thuzad's experience, or had Kel'Thuzad's complain about when their chains get stuck on the terrain enough to know that that's an option I can do in response.
So definitely any step upwards or to the left slightly. I mean, there was a bomb here, so it's a little bit tricky, I'm sure. If you're really going for the juke, you run straight to the left right here. And it puts you in a little bit of harm's way, but the chain's already out, and it's on this guy, so he can't possibly chain you again. And the Gazlo stun's already out, so there's very low threat to you in this particular situation by running left. I think it's very unlikely that you die from it.
I mean, chains
still this is not really, they can't really capitalize on it, so it's no problem. It's also just the most likely place that you could have dodged, I think, to go to the left, just because it's the least predictable. Was there a chain on this guy? I didn't see. Thought I saw it.
There was, yeah.
Okay. These are so scrappy, these fights. Okay. Nice. You get the mech. Oh, and you get the Kel'Thuzad. Super, super good. Your ultimate's almost up. You do have Light of Loon.
I got stunned by something. I don't know what stunned me.
See it.
Maybe it was the
Let's
gas.
focus on the rest.
I probably was too in the moment.
So you go for a raw stun on this guy. I don't know if I agree with this one. He's right in the middle of the open area, and it's the D.Va. I know he does have 54 gems on him, but...
Yeah, and low health.
Yeah.
I think I was just greedy.
Super, super good ulti there. Yeah, you get stunned by the guys, though, here, because you're focused in on this. Have a stun. Okay, you get it. Nice. You land the owl. Very nice. So this fort's still alive. Okay. So it's 13 to 12 and a half, but basically 13 to 12. You have 1 level lead when I think you guys probably could have had 2 levels at least. And this fort should be dead. This one, the front wall, I think would be... If you guys had done the 3-1-1 split or the 1-1-3 split or whatever, then I think that you guys would have gotten more than just this this wall. I think you guys could have at least gotten the fountain and maybe started damage on this. Or then again, you guys have only done 1 turn in. I didn't realize that. Okay, so you guys are going to get your second turn in, and with the second turn in, this should be guaranteed triple fort, so that's fine. I think you guys could have gotten your second turn in sooner. I think you guys could have gotten your second turn in. Generally speaking, you can get a second turn in by the time that you get to like level 11 or 12, I think. So I don't know if that just means that you guys dropped gems previously, or might have been, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
It's been kind of scrappy.
All right, so you're securing the turn in. It's a nice owl for vision. Okay, this is... You have vision of this now. They do have 13, and they have a Diva Bomb. So, in this situation, your best case scenario is not to let them do boss, but not to fight them, really. That's really the key, is you want to try and go for a pick. You already have the Web Weaver pushing, Sergeant Hammer's in the mid lane pushing. There's no way that they can do this boss. Oh boy. Diablo looks like he wants to fight. He's hungry. I mean, I get it, but Sergeant Hammer can't rotate very quickly. The rest of you can probably get there relatively quickly, but he's going to end up going down to like 30% before the fight starts if he goes in. All right. That's fine. So this is already gone. The question is, do you push into the top fort or where they already are, or do you try and set up on the bottom? I think I like this better, setting up here, because of the fact that you have Sergeant Hammer. It's harder to reposition and push this lane. This lane's going to push itself. Just setting up in this zone and getting this keep wall, potentially even keep if you get a pick, which is very possible. I'm very okay with staying 5-man here because you don't need to soak every lane because they're already on the same talent tier, and you're very unlikely to get to the next talent tier by the time that... So essentially, you guys spent all your most of your gems. You have 10, 20, 15 maybe gems left over. You'll have enough time, I think, to get to level 16 for the next one. So I don't think it's... If you were going to do a chain turn in, then I could see stalling your hard push until you have 16. But as is, staying 5 is a lot safer because they want to fight right now. That's why they were up here. That's why they were starting the boss, is that they want to fight while it's still level 13, while they have a Diva Bomb. And staying as 5 prevents them from forcing a bad fight against you guys.
I'm just not sure how it'd be possible to safely set up a split push, given that the way where their team is,
how to do a split push.
Would be. Like if we had 4 top and then 1 mid, like they could collapse into 1 mid, you know. And if we had 1 top and then
I think that the
mid,
only possible scenario, if you wanted to split and look for level 20 or 16 rather, is if you have Sergeant Hammer in the bot lane and just kind of soaking, pushing this out, and the 4-man. You can't do 3-1. You can't do it. You'd have to have a 4-man together, and that would be presumably in the top lane because of the fact that it's the closest to safety. And your main goal is to get this fort as a 4-man. They have to respond to the Web Weavers with some of their heroes, so it's unlikely for them to stay 5-man top. As long as they do, you don't do anything. You have 4 people sit there doing nothing while they stay as 5-man here. That's totally fine, because you're getting value in the mid lane and you're getting value in the bot lane while they're getting none. So that's probably the other play.
But overall, 5-man.
I think this in this situation, because you have a Sergeant Hammer, I like this play the best. I think it gives you the best chance of getting a keep. I think this fort, if they don't defend it, which they probably won't because of the fact that you guys are threatening this area, because of that, this is almost already guaranteed by the objective alone. I think even if it doesn't get it all on its own, it'll be like 20% life, and you can get it on your way out of this as you rotate up. Staying here guarantees that this wall goes away, and if you guys can secure a pick, I think this is very up for the taking because you have a Sergeant Hammer. Does that make sense?
Right. The only factor I was wanting to add to that would be the D.Va bomb. I mean, I could definitely 100%. See it coming mid here.
There it is. You do have the Sergeant Hammer who's able to knock it a little bit further away. Still kind of annoying. Diablo takes one for the team a little. Okay, no. All right. Yeah, so that was fine. That was pretty good. Both displacements were used to push it away further. And oh, that jump. Okay. Kerrigan's screwed. Oh, really good use. Probably still dead. All right. So that was just Kerrigan jumping over the wall for no reason. I don't think he intended to, but definitely didn't need to have that death. If that didn't happen, this wall is guaranteed, and then I think you guys can look for a pick. You did use your ultimate there, I think, to try and save the Kerrigan, and I get why you did. I don't know. It's unlikely that it works. Oh, very lucky. Okay. So the chain lands on Sergeant Hammer. The glacial spike goes down. And in order to prevent this from becoming a second pick, Diablo flips the switch, goes for the Apocalypse Shadow Charge flip on Kel'Thuzad. This is a little bit dangerous now because it is forcing a 4 versus 5. But I understand why it happens, and I don't necessarily disagree with it, actually, because in this situation, I do think you guys could get a pick and equalize relatively quickly. It doesn't look like you guys are in position to follow up on the Diablo, per se. This guy has used his teleport, I think, from here. So he's actually close enough to follow up on this. Sergeant Hammer still has the Blunt Force gun. So if this guy gets flipped onto the Apocalypse right here, I think you guys can kill Kel'Thuzad relatively quickly, and then what remains are not too threatening things. And that definitely helps a lot. So yeah, perfect. Excellent. So he has the Consumed Souls. I didn't notice that. Oh, very nice sound barrier. Oh no. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is just well played all around. I think the Consumed Souls was very good. The Blunt Force gun did hit the Gazla. It really needed to hit the Kel'Thuzad, unfortunately, but really the sound barrier was incredible there.
So at this point, we just need to
they're
leave,
still under
or...
a lot of pressure. I think that the safest, best thing to do right now, you can finish this tower with Sergeant Hammer and then take top. I think that's the safest and best thing to do because they still have to clear the bottom. You don't want to be exactly where they are. So that's probably the way to go. It looks like your team has other ideas. They want to try and defend the bottom web weaver. They'll get this tower, but... Fort's already gone. That's
yeah, I guess,
fine.
I mean, we just blew everything.
All right, and now you can leave. Yeah. Leaving at this point is very important. Okay. I'm not sure what he's doing here. I guess he's out of vision? Not anymore. He's getting charge stack. That's what he's doing. He's out. That's fine. So far, you're at 7 stacks. You definitely could be getting more stacks, but...
Yeah, I missed a lot this game.
More important than anything, I think you need to work on your shadow stock usage. I feel like it's been relatively unimpactful so far. For example, when this bomb went down over here, I think if you had the shadow stock in that position, you guys could have gotten several kills here that you didn't necessarily get because Kerrigan was too low to pursue.
That was the one that I blew when Diablo was just running away.
Here.
Okay, yeah.
More stacks. Double stack. Okay, he's fine. He's got spell armor. I'm not sure exactly where you were. Were you turning in? No, you still have 3.
I guess not. I don't know. Maybe just...
So, I mean, Diablo's just going for stacks. He's not trying to get kills, but still worth being with the team. Let's take a look. You guys are... You do have 16. That's another thing. Okay. So, yeah, you're up here, and you're showing. This is a mistake. If you're going to be in this bush, which there's not much reason to be mounted at the very least. And don't show. There you go.
I think I just didn't realize that.
I mean,
that
you're
he
level
was doing
16,
stuff.
so you do want to fight. As soon as that happens, you are looking for it.
Yeah.
And most importantly, he's looking to get his stacks. That's the reason why he did this whole thing. It also forced the Diva Bomb, so it was well worth it. Nobody dies on your team because their composition isn't that threatening, but you should still be there to try and follow up. If you were there, it's possible you can get a kill. Yeah.
Get more stacks myself, I guess.
There you go. Really nice. Good follow-up. Great stun. And there's a kill. There's a second one. That should be free. Fantastic. Oh, this is fantastic. If you can get this one too. Oh, man. That was pretty important for them. Yeah.
Yeah, he picked up a lot of those.
So you guys are not even remotely close to your next turn in. Boss is 100% the play. Speed is of the essence. No diva.
Better than just pushing down because they have only 3.
I would say this is a tough one. Let's see. Pushing mid. They have 2 dead, but it's short-ish death timers. If you push mid right now, it's not a guarantee you'll get this keep. If they had 3 dead, I would say that, yeah, most likely you could probably go for the keep. This means that they still could have 3 people defending, and you don't have... I guess here's your minion wave, but I think right away you guys needed to go to the boss. That was probably the best case scenario. Because you don't have turn-in, what this does is it forces them to have something that they have to deal with when what they really want to be doing is contesting with 16 at the turn-in points. What you're doing is you want to buy time before you can turn in again, and you do that by getting camps and boss. So in this situation, if you take boss here, I don't even know if you need to push with it. Like, pushing with it could be good based on your composition, because you could get more picks. But
the hammer, yeah.
I would be very okay with taking boss and then pushing mid, in fact, because then you have 2 different threats that they have to respond to, and that forces them to split their resources. That's probably the best case scenario, but in Hero League, you almost never see people do that. So they can't respond with a Diva Bomb in both places, you know? They have to choose where do they defend and with how many people.
Right.
As is, let's see what value we get. Uh-oh, Kerrigan. This is pretty scrappy. Okay. Diablo is always on a different page, it feels like. He's trying to cover for the Kerrigan's mistake here by getting hit by the fort. Kel'Thuzad was trying to punish him. Diablo is okay. Oh no. Okay, so you use your ultimate. That was a good usage here, I think. It's likely he's still dead. Yep, still dead. So, once again, risk versus reward. It was also poorly executed because you guys kind of went in one at a time here. You didn't commit to it all as a group. But it was just risky. They had 3 people still here, and now they have 5 people here because the death times were so short. This was a guaranteed easy boss play that is no longer possible. So, yeah, at this point, most likely they go for the turn in, and it's highly unlikely that you guys can do much about it because they're going to try and hard force the team fight, and you're 4v5. And at the stage, if you lose a 4v5, then they get the boss. They get the boss, and then they get the turn in. Then it starts to really snowball. Oh, yeah. Really good. Fantastic. Great follow-up. Really important pick. They screwed up big time because they tried to soak this at the same time as pushing up with Lucio into a Diablo. Ooh, almost. Careful. All right.
Yeah, I don't know whether I saw that or not, but I'm
yes,
Kel'Thuzad is a terrifying hero. Oh,
so they did pick up
a
decent number of gems still. I'm pretty sure. Very low. Wow. Okay. It's almost another pick. So at this point, primary goal once again is to deny them from turning in. You just don't have enough to get your own turn in. Best case scenario, you get this camp out. I think it's not necessary to do it, because if you do this camp right now, it increases the chances that they can turn in because you have fewer bodies on the map. Based on the compositions, I think yours is more than good enough to prevent them from turning in and threaten them to back off. Doing this camp is essentially if you know you're going to lose the turn in anyway. So let's say if they get a pick on one of your heroes, that's when you go for this because it mitigates their mid push with the objective. But this camp it looks like you guys go for. I'm okay with that. It's relatively close to the bottom turn in, and you guys have vision. You see how far pushed up these lanes are? So it's very unlikely that they can sneak a turn in, although nobody's actually watching this one. This one's very out of reach with the hammer being here. I don't know that you need to be here. You do have vision of them, so it's okay, I think.
I just, I thought he was going to take the camp real slow. I didn't realize how much damage he had.
Alright, so at this point, you see where their whole team is. These guys should be trying to collapse on them. I think this is a decent spot to try and take a fight. There's a lot of good walls for Diablo to land wallbangs. If your team steps up a little bit here, I think this fight goes very well for you guys. Yeah, this looks good so far. I don't like this as much. If he comes from this angle, he doesn't have nearly as many options. Best case scenario for him, he stays on this side of the wall, uses his W across the wall to give him vision, and then he can land a double charge stun and probably global a hero. He's going to go for probably his ultimate though, yeah. Yeah, okay. He goes for the Lucio? Alright. No, buddy! He flips him out of the APOC there.
Yeah,
That's very unfortunate. Oh my god. Alright, he dodges the Sylvanas ultimate there by charging the Gazlo at least. And you are pretty far back here. You're killing a turret. Not sure about that. Definitely just sort of
I don't know.
Identifying this is the time to fight. So you definitely want to be, I guess you can't mount up right now because of this turret, but you want to be contributing. It doesn't look like you need to ult just yet. Although if you did, it would get probably maximum heal value, so it wouldn't hurt to. I don't know. I think you could, but you probably don't need to. Okay, you just ignore this because it's a long timer, and you keep chasing. Good. Alright. And this is where you guys can definitely siege up and look to try and take bottom keep right now, I think. And the main difference between the boss play earlier versus this one is the fact that it's so much further away. and the fact that they still have 4 people. So I think sieging up here is fine if you do it together. They're all very low. It's good. Yeah. So we siege up. Doesn't have it's a lot of damage, but he doesn't have what's it called? Level 20 yet. Once he gets to level 20, it could be a problem. This Kel'Thuzad.
Oh.
Danger. Okay, so they go for this guy. You gotta get heals out on this guy ASAP. He's got 7. Okay, he gets his own spell armor. Really good. I'm pretty sure you used your heals on him. Nice. Good follow-up. Really good. Oh, Kerrigan's tanking. Alrighty. They still have all their gems right there. But you guys get the bottom keep, and I don't know if you can get the mid keep right now, because you have Webweaver pushing against you. So I guess, who snuck that in? Must have been.
It must have been the gas.
Nice try.
It's probably it.
Getting the bot keep's fantastic,
anyway, though,
definitely, and getting 2 kills, it's great.
And they right, they
definitely can't push with it. They have
a
they don't have level 20, so you guys should be able to free clear this. This one's so far pushed back, you don't even have to worry about it. You just clear this middle and top, and then look to force. I'm not sure what he was doing to taking a fort shot, but okay, that's an ult. Okay. I'm not sure if you have Wounds Chosen, but I think you do. Yeah, you're doing it. You're in trouble, though. He's going to have a bomb. Alright, good ults. Bruh. Alright. Alright, you're very in. You desperately need to tap. And you need to defend. So this was really just a Diablo sticking around way too long back here. This is all because of that. Okay, you get your tap. They get the fort for free. This is actually really bad because the boss is still available after this objective. If somehow they're able to get a pick or something, they can, or if they try and get level 20, I don't think they can get level 20 very quickly with the objective nearly all dealt with, but if they get a pick, they can probably do the boss, and if they do the boss, now that there's no fort, it's very possible that they could push through, get the keep, and go for the end of the game, potentially. But I still think you guys are probably in a better position to end. Uh-oh. Okay. Ho, ho, ho! The minions for the win. Alright.
Yeah,
that could have been sketchy.
I was on the wrong side of the wall to kill him, too.
It's very low. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, that armor saved his life. If that guy dies, does he have the level 20 version? Yeah, he does. So if this guy dies, this guy dies. That's crazy. Double kill right now would have been huge. Ah, you have the global ulti. Alright. So that's running down mid-wave. Gotcha. It's pretty useful. It might have been better even in the top lane, because it could have given you boss vision, and you could have it running down like this path right here.
I mean, I assume you just wanted to get it down as soon as possible.
So they're able to get their camp, but you guys get the turn in. You should not be up here. So this is also... You're very far from your team. Away. You're not mounted. You're trying to push a wave for some reason. You don't really push waves very fast as a Tyrande. And more importantly, you don't need to soak. You're past level 20. When you're past level 20, soaking is a mistake, because there's nothing really left to go for. If you really want to soak because there's nothing else to do, then just stand in the bush, be mounted. Really important. But more importantly, as the healer, it's not your job. The only person that should ever do that is a global or an offlaner that is safe by themselves. If I'm on the other team right now, because I see you up here, that's why they're doing this. They're making this play because of you right now. You're enabling it because they know that if they press up here and there's a fight that takes place, at least it's going to be minus the healer. And they don't even see Kerrigan. So this is actually going to be a 3 versus 4, it looks like, because Kel'Thuzad's a little bit further away, if there's a fight. And it does look like there will be a fight because this guy's going to be forced to either, if he goes back, he gets stunned by Diablo. If he goes forward, I don't know. Maybe Sergeant Hammer can boop him back. Let's take a look. All right, Sergeant Hammer, he goes for the Sylvanas. He should be able to get a double wall bang. And there he is. Really nice. Double kill, or double stun. Chains landed, but it's not enough. Yeah, he's got spell armor. All right, and now by this time, Kerrigan gets...
You see the spray?
Which one? The thumbs up. Yep, that was really good.
The thumbs up.
Oh, man. I don't think most of the Kerrigan combos have landed this whole game. It's pretty rough. Oh, man, and that got dodged, too. Still dead. All right. So at this point, I think it's game. I think you guys can just walk to the core. Yeah. You have the objective spawning. I guess if you want, you can push through mid, get the keep first, but there's no real need, honestly. But except for just where you guys are currently. I don't know about that APOC. Kind of unnecessary. So I would say your owls this game could have been better. Just overall, I think for both vision and, I mean, in this situation, you want to land it for the slow, right? For the chase potential.
Right. So carry follow up.
That's just what I've noticed thus far. The main issue I would say throughout this game for you has been your positioning with regard to your team. Just making sure you're always able to follow up on the Diablo or the Kerrigan. I do think that sometimes the Diablo and Kerrigan were in places that they shouldn't necessarily have been. So sometimes following them would have been, I don't know, maybe might have gone worse, but tough to say. I
mean, just because that's the game plan of this particular
yes, but in general, it's also true. In general, when you're playing the healer, it's not worth being separated from your team. Whatever value you can be getting by clearing a wave top or whatever is less value than if you had been with your group, generally speaking.
Yeah. Okay.
Here it is. Nice. You follow up. You get your trade up. He's dead. Great job. And that's the game. Haha. Brushed off the wall. So, yeah, I think, I mean, the game definitely went mostly the way I expected it to in terms of your team having significantly stronger team fight power. Their draft really was lacking a lot. That being said,
first time I'd seen a diva in quite a while.
I think the main things I would have wanted to change were the which heroes went to which lanes for the Webweaver pushes, right? The early Webweaver pushes. I think you guys could have done more. And
we had a heavy push bot when.
And I think the only reason you guys didn't end this game that much sooner is because this lane you had the Kerrigan die because he jumped over the wall once, and once because he got hit by the fort and continued to go in after that. And then Diablo started a fight here that was unnecessary for no reason when you needed to clear. But other than that, there was a very low chance of you guys losing this game, I think. The only win condition for them was to take the boss in the top lane after winning a team fight, but you guys had a 2-level advantage for most of the late game. And as far as picks go, I think they ended up with 15 stuns on Lunar Blaze. It's not terrible. I think you could have gone probably 20 though, at least.
Mm-hmm. Particularly with those two to
that's
follow
the
up
main
on.
thing. But that, once again, I think that has a lot to do with your positioning, making sure you're close enough to follow up on each one. Definitely, I'm not going to fault you for all of them because the Diablo was acting very erratically in terms of his patterns. I would have had trouble following up on some of them. So yeah.
Oh, that is kind of nice to hear.
And then the other thing is your shadow stock usage. I think otherwise I think you use your trait well. I think you use your heals pretty well. I think you use your lunar flares decently. The Loon's Chosen I think you're using well, but I'm that I don't have the visual, so it's hard to tell. I think the things you mostly need to improve on are Sentinel usage and shadow stock usage. Those are the two things that I think probably are the biggest improvements to be made. Sentinel definitely could be more powerful for its vision, using it to deny turn-ins, making sure you're keeping tabs on the enemy team. When the enemy team was in this corridor, for example, using Owl is very important, actually, to not even to hit someone, just to have this corridor fully lit up is so big, because if the Diablo player had that option of full vision, he doesn't have to approach from the left side. He can approach from the top side, so it gives him a free double wall bang angle. As it was, he went from this angle and got a very lucky wall stun on a Lucio right here, followed by the APOC, but he flipped him out of the APOC and saved his life. So 100%. I mean, coming from the top is a little bit risky if they move forward. If they press forward here, which I doubt they would, then he has to continue going around this way and maybe go for it here. And he wanted to try and cut them off and go that way. But with the vision, I think that's what really makes the key difference. It's possible he would have decided to go for this play if he had the vision. And then other than that, once you get the level, is it 13 or 16? I forget. It's 13. Yeah. So once you get to 13, landing those sentinels for pickoffs on people that are running away is also very important. So those are the main things. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. I guess when you would consider other talents like the other alt or different talents on the first three tiers. I just don't know when it would be appropriate. I mean, sure, if they have lots of stuns, and you pick the stun one, but I guess on the other tiers.
Oh, that's because I don't have you selected. That's why. I was like, why can't I look at your talents? You are number 8. Okay. So talent-wise, which talent tier? Any particular?
Well, I guess the alt.
So
the biggest one.
When you're playing solo heal Tyrande, Shadowstock is almost always going to be the choice. The only time I would consider not taking Shadowstock is if their team had very little sustained damage that you really needed to handle, or if your composition already had other tools to support. Like, for example, if you had a Tyrael with shields and sanctification, or if you had Zarya, or I don't know if I would include Medivh in that pool, because Medivh is going to be the anti-burst, and Shadowstock is less for the burst heal and more for the sustained healing for the group. So Medivh doesn't really help with that so much. But
I mean, how important is it to have heroes on your team with CC for the Starfall to keep them?
Starfall isn't really. It's not really for damage on lockdown targets. It's primarily for zoning. It's got the slow and it deals moderately high damage. Okay. So on this map in particular, the game's bugged right now, but this is a wall, right? So this zone in general and the turn-in areas, a lot of these areas make for solid positions for Starfall. You can definitely get value out of the ability. When you're pressing up on a keep or a fort and you want to deny them from sieging up on your objective, dropping the what's it called? dropping the Starfall can be useful there as well. I just don't think your team needed damage. That's the other thing, is that your composition has plenty of damage output. You don't even have a traditional solo laner, and you have the highest damage dealing tank in the game. There's very few scenarios where I think Starfall is better than Shadowstock. Shadowstock is just a very powerful ultimate right now, especially as healers go, and I think it rounds out Tyrande's skill kit very nicely as a healer, because she already has relatively good burst protection with her Qs, but she's definitely lacking AoE healing. The Elun's Chosen is a great single target heal, sustained heal, but it's not, it's really hard to top off your whole team if everyone's taking damage. And they have a fair amount of just raw damage, I guess you could say. Kel'Thuzad is the primary single target threat, but Gazlo's damage is going to be on multiple targets. Sylvanas' damage is going to... Now, he's got a bunch of stacks on her W, so that's split damage, but primarily the damage from Sylvanas is now single target, I would say. Just in general, though, people take damage, and Shadowstock is always good against that, so yeah.
Okay. And just, it sounds like using it sooner in the team fight, just so it gets more value over time.
You definitely don't want to use it too late.
Like what you were saying earlier about the
definitely don't want to use it when if somebody's going to die without having gotten the full value of the heal, and sometimes you can't prevent that. But if you use it too early, then it's also not good, because, for example, there was that team fight that took place around this area where you had it available and everybody had about 80% life. So you could have used it and it would have gotten heal value on everything. But it's not necessarily the best time to use it, because there's no threat of anybody dying yet. So in that situation, I would probably say to hold it until it looks like somebody might need it in order to stay alive / continue pushing forward. Because I think you probably did use it around that time, and because of that, there was another scrappy fight that took place around here. I think somewhere in here that took place shortly afterwards that I know you didn't have it for. And I think it's possible you could have held it and had it for that fight. So, I would say that during this game, I think there was one Shadowstock that I really liked, that I think that was well timed. Other than that, I think you had 3 or maybe 4 other uses, and those were not 100% optimal, I would say. And it is an important ult to use at the right time, because it's 90-second cooldown, and because it's affecting all 5 members of your team. So, anyway, that about covers it.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, man.
Sure. I will note that you had mentioned earlier that when I was playing, that sometimes it's fine to send in a loss. I don't want to send you only wins. I was just looking back through my Hero League, and all the losses were either me playing tank, being forced into tank, offlane, DPS, or playing a healer. And
that's
then losing
rough,
10
but
minutes.
sometimes there's a lot to be learned from those losses as well. So I have no problem with whatever you think you can learn the most from. By all means, send it to me. But yeah, definitely I prefer if you're sending it in for a heal roll. But if you'd rather, I have no problem with you sending in other roles if you want to learn more about those roles. It's entirely up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I just figured since my nominal role is support, then I would focus on that first.
But I would say your Tyrande so far was pretty good. Cool. I think if I were to give a score out of 10, I'd say 7.5. I'd give you. Yeah, not too bad. I think if you improve, the alt usage is really not too hard to improve. I think that's a easy one to improve on, and then Sentinel usage is more niche. So like if you get the Shadowstocks down, then that score raises up to like 85 to 90, and then the last 10% is Sentinel usage and positioning.
Yeah, well, the Sentinel is. I feel like that's
it's
more
mechanics, but it's also there's a fair bit of macro that goes into knowing when to use Sentinel. There's very key moments where vision is super important, and now that Sentinel doesn't go through heroes, And all right, I guess is there a talent for that now? I forget.
Right, it's like one of the like the level
Ranger
4, the level
that goes
1
through
talents
it.
or something like that.
You can activate it to pierce. I don't know if that's ever worth it, but now that the baseline does not pierce, the primary purpose for Sentinel is there's two reasons. There's one, to do increased single target damage, ideally while you still have your Hunter's Mark up on a target that you're going for a kill on. And the second reason is for vision. So those are two main reasons. And then once you pick up the Harsh Moonlight, then you can add on to that the slow potential for picking off targets that are trying to run away or kill targets. And then Empower just increases the kill potential, as well as the shortened cooldown gives you more utility. So I think overall, the primary thing I want to see you getting better at is using it for utility, getting really solid owls for vision. Huh?
I'm sorry. Using it for utility. I just couldn't
for the
make
utility
out what you
purpose. I think most of the time I saw you use Sentinel Owls for damage. They most of the time connected. Sometimes they were a little bit late. I think you were trying to hold it as a last hit ability, which I wouldn't recommend, just because Sentinel becomes harder to land the longer away it is from the CC start. So just get that damage in, especially if you have Hunter's Mark up. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that just about concludes it then.
Okay, that got a little.
All right, man.
Sounds good. Helpful.